dos, tres, cuatro.
Hey guys, welcome to Squad Sundays. I guess first I want to start by saying thank you, and the reason I say thank you is because if you guys don't rock up, this is not going to work. Yeah, so it's just I'm really passionate about building a community. So if it's your first time, that's kind of the idea, and I just think this can be a really great thing. There's been a lot of people. I'm not going to make you put your hands up again, but there's been a lot of people that collaborated together by coming to these things, which is really, really important. Music for me is really about collaboration and working together, and I just think we are so much more powerful when we do that. A lot of us, I was speaking to Tomas, who's the new camera guy for this month, so welcome my man, and we were just talking about, he's from Chile, and he was talking about the community in Chile, the music community, how they're just really together and they're really into music, and it's all about, you know, there's not a set amount of hours and blah, blah, blah. You know, we're all very businessy, and myself included. And that's just kind of, I don't know, that's like the culture here. But culture is something that we can change. And I feel like if we come together, we can change the culture. And Melbourne is just one of the fucking coolest places to be. I saw recently that it's like the life capital
of the world.
of music of the world. Like, fuck. And I'm like, where the fuck is everyone?
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah, like it's a life capital. But
I went out last Saturday and I texted everyone. I was like, "So, any live music on?" They're like, "No." I was like,
well, who knows?
Shit.
But you know, the idea is if we can keep this going, and it'll only keep going if you guys rock up. Some months there's going to be more people, some months there'll be less, but I really find it exciting. I get really excited just to kind of catch up with you guys, and a lot of us don't have the avenue to kind of call someone up and say, hey, let's talk about plugins or artistry or going on stage or whatever you guys are going through in that moment. So this is a really good platform to be able to do that. Unfortunately, Jack, the bear who's going to come today, was really unwell and he cancelled last minute. That's just the way it goes. But there's lots of topics that I want to talk about with you guys today, and I think it's really good. As I said previously, like if we don't have a speaker every single one, maybe you guys will feel a bit more comfortable to kind of express what you're going through, and we can actually just talk as a group about different topics, and you'll feel this really kind of great support network. I don't want to be like cheesy and talk that shit like, oh, we're family, man. Like it's not, you know, it's not about creating some bullshit. Like slowly by coming to these things, you guys are getting to know each other, you're hanging out, you're going to each other's gigs. I just think that's so fucking cool. Like that wasn't happening before because we just hadn't built this community. And yeah, I'm really, really grateful for you guys rocking up, and I hope this goes for the rest of the year and just builds into something more than us, you know. And you guys have been there from the start, most of you, which is really cool. And this, to be honest, this is still the start, because it's like, what, the fourth one, which is fucking cool. So I want to say congratulations to Sata on her win. She did a competition and she killed it. And what'd you get? Like, you got like
a cash prize,
prize,
music video shoot, photo shoot, single recording,
Jeez.
and a single launch tour.
Shit.
So it was a massive prize.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and Steve was there, which was so nice to have a squad member there.
Nice
so
work, Steve.
Yeah,
That's
it was
great.
Awesome.
Where was it at? Sorry, I know nothing about it. Can you
the
fill me in?
Junction Hotel in Kew. So it's
Sick.
run by Amber Mike Productions. It's an open mic comp. He runs, I think,
Alex?
once or twice a year. Yeah, Alex from Amber Mike. So, there you go, small world. Yeah, so it's all of the music and shit. But yeah, I went through heats, semi-finals, and then the grand final.
killed it.
Yeah, so it's pretty
Good on you, man. That's so exciting.
Yeah.
It's really scary to get out there and perform, but like if you didn't get out there and do it, look at that opportunity.
True.
You know, thousands of dollars worth
Yes.
of stuff. So well done. Aman's just released his song. Congratulations, my man.
Well done, bro.
We're gonna play that today and have a listen, and then we'll have the links on our YouTube video after as well. He's got a gig coming up. He's actually going to be performing the song. You got some flyers on here, so make sure you take one. And you know, no pressure. If you're free, rock up. If I'm free, I'm going to rock up. Yeah, I think it's going to be exciting night. Is anything you want to tell us about it, bro?
Yeah, so pretty much Sada's in the soul choir. Put a soul choir together. Song is devoted to my mother. So this whole event is everything goes straight to White Ribbon Foundation. So all the funds go straight into that foundation, which is amazing because got the green light from them, so they can support it. And yeah, we got a lot of really, really good support acts. I got a full women's band Bloom. It's crazy good band. And Olivia and Soli from The Voice, she's super amazing artists. And yes, a couple really good talented artists, and it's gonna be a good jam. We're all gonna like smash it out. Yeah.
I'm just excited to get out of the house, man.
but yeah, I'd love for all you beautiful guys to come through and support the cause. It'll be super dope and break it down on stage. Not on stage, but like on the stage. And so on stage. Oh, damn it!
We're all up on stage, everyone. Everyone heard that, yeah?
Yeah, backup dancers. He won't be paying.
It's on camera, so.
Yeah.
Don't you worry.
Yeah, dope. So there's a few, like the way, after the last Squad Sunday, I'm like, I'm already thinking about the next one. And I want to thank Greg and Steve for coming to help me set up a bit. That really just helped me so much. I was literally sitting here like, I'm like, I got 20 minutes to just chill, which is cool. Because it can take me like an hour to 2 hours to set up by myself. And then, another hour packing up at the end. Like it makes it quite long. So I really appreciate the help. And obviously Tomas, who came to set up the camera and is helping me as well. I'm really appreciative. I just think it's really important to show gratitude. So thanks for that. So last Sunday, last Squad Sunday, I'm thinking about like what am I going to talk about and what are we going to do? And not everyone's going to be a speaker. Not everyone is going to have a speaker, but I'm thinking like as my month goes by, I just start having all these themes that I think are like really important to talk about and things that I'm actually living and dealing with. And I'm like, shit, I'd love to share that with you guys. And not just to kind of like gas bag, but to maybe like open the floor to you guys to actually have an open discussion about these topics. And there's some things here that you might have nothing to say, and that's perfectly fine. But if you feel strongly about something, like don't be shy to speak your mind and say what you think or say how you feel if you've experienced that as well. Again, I just want this to be a real supportive group. I know it's kind of filmed, which may be scary at the start, but you'll get over it and you won't remember that those things are there anyway. So the first kind of thing I wanted to talk about, and maybe it's really obvious, but I've written here, it doesn't matter if you're amateur or professional as an artist or a music producer. It's more important who you are as a person and what you stand for. And I so believe in that. I've been an artist for about 10, 12 years or whatever, and then I moved across to being a music producer. And it doesn't matter if I am the artist or if I am the music producer facilitating the artist. Who you are as a person is hugely important. Having great working relations is really, really important, because if you're a nice person to deal with and work with, you're creating a good vibe and a good energy. It doesn't matter what level of talent you have. You can be extremely talented, but if you're a fuckhead, for lack of a better word, you're not going to get anywhere, because that's going to catch on like wildfire. It really is. And I've seen it many, many times. And I just think like you have to have the talent. You have to work hard. There's no easy way in any creative industry, whether it's video, art, graphic design, music production or whatever, or being an artist. You have to work hard and be great at what you do. But you can be great at what you do and an asshole, and I promise you, nothing is going to happen for you. You're going to keep hitting brick walls. Yeah, I'm not saying anyone here is that. But it's just important to know within yourself that to be honest with yourself, to be comfortable and grow comfortable with who you are as a person. And I'm not here to kind of preach that shit, but it's just something that's really important to me. Like, you're all really good people, and I'm really happy to be surrounded by you guys. And they're the types of people I want to surround myself with. I'd rather work with someone who's less talented, which just means that, they're at a different part of their journey, because I love being in the studio with you. I have people who I work with who are all different levels, and there's some people who are at different, lower levels, and I have so much fun with them. For me, like, it really makes it an enjoyable experience. So at no stage when you're working as an artist or a music producer, it's okay to say no. It's okay to stop and say, this is not good for me, I'm not happy. Yep, sometimes, and many times in my career, I remember when I was a dancer, I was working for this guy, and he was super abusive to the dancers, like to the point I felt like vomiting after. It was really uncomfortable, and I thought to myself, like, I've been trained to be a professional. I want to finish the job. It's the right thing to do. And it just got to a point where I'm like, I feel physically sick. I have to walk out. And he swore at me and abused me. And I was like in tears because I was just like, fuck, I just feel used and abused. And he was lovely to me up until that point. But something switched with him, and then he's just abusing all the dancers. And some people stayed, but you know, I'm as most artists are, relatively sensitive, and I just didn't want to be amongst that. And I made the decision. And I remember having some self-reflection after, thinking to myself like, oh, I don't know if I've done the right thing. And I don't think in that situation, if you have that initial feeling that you need to get out, you don't need to feel bad about that decision. You've had that feeling, it's the right decision. So I want you all, I'm expressing this to say whatever part of the journey you're in, make sure that you're always around positive vibes and positive energy. And it doesn't matter what the opportunity is, it doesn't matter how big or how small it is, it's important to surround yourself with the right energy. Be sure who you are as a person. That's something that really resonated with me this month, and it's something I stand by. And I'll always be that way. I don't take on the energy myself. I just want to work with people who are giving that love back. So make sure you guys do that. And if you guys at any stage want to butt into anything I'm saying, feel free. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep going. The other thing was, like, when I was searching for shitload of videographers, trying to find the right guy, and Tomas is thankfully the right guy. It's really important as a creative that you have a strong social media. Your Facebook's strong or your Instagram's strong. The first thing I do if I'm hiring someone, like if someone hits me up, I go to their profile. I know everyone does that. Like if someone you don't know hits you up, you go to their profile. And if they got a picture like with their pants down, like mooning the fucking camera, I'm going to be like, I'm not really sure that I want to work with that guy. Yeah, because like your profile has become like almost your CV or your resume. Yeah. So I think it's really important to have a dope CV and dope resume. You know, that's how you get jobs in real life, because music and creative arts is not real life. But if you are in this industry, it's important that you have a good Facebook, a good Instagram, or, you know, don't be posting stupid shit on Snapchat because the right person might be watching and you might be doing the wrong thing and you've missed an opportunity. You really don't know what's around the corner. So just make sure that your profiles are on point. You look good, you got some nice photos, you got some a short bio about who you are, what you do, because that for me, like in this day and age, that's the first impression now. That's it. Yeah. You're not going to get to the point where I would come to meet you or I want to say hello to you if you got these fucking stupid pictures. I just won't. I'll just be like, nah, next, because everyone's replaceable. There's so many people that you can hire. So I think it's really valuable to make sure that whatever your social media is, unless it's private, which most of ours isn't, make sure that it's something you would want to look at and be like proud of. That's what I do with mine. I'm like, if someone comes up on that, I got websites, I got cool photos, I'm proud of what I have there. Yeah. So it's
on that note as well, like I did a bit of like research and stuff a while ago because all my pages were just all over the place. I didn't know what I was doing. So I went through my personal Facebook, my artist Facebook, and like deleted all the shit things that I didn't need. Instagram, I went through and did a whole rebranding sort of thing. So I like hid all the photos. Then I just started again from scratch. And now my page, like, it looks kind of cool and stuff. Yeah. So you just like do that.
You wanted to say now my page is a joke.
Yeah.
No, like, you just like
I kind of look fucking dope.
It looks pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
So then now you just like, and then you just keep doing that. You got to like know a brand though. Like you've got to have your own brand as an artist. Yeah. And that's what I've found out the most, because like I'd hit people up or people would hit me up and they'd be like, so the first thing that you need to do is like you need to have a brand. Because that's what sells you to everyone. So you got to keep that consistent across all platforms, website, Instagram,
branding,
Facebook,
so important.
Yeah, I think I'll jump into that for a sec. Yeah, like that building. I think it's building your own personal brand is these days with everything you got is such a fucking dope and good way to build your actual personal brand. So that if you move fucking jobs or employees or whatever, you can take that sort of like credibility with you. And then if you do it right and properly to kind of leverage all your other work and everything from it, it's the fucking dopest thing. But at the same time, if anything that you do, like stupid shit on the net or whatever, that's also attached to your personal brand as well.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's kind of when you take that step into going, okay, cool, I'm going to represent myself as a personal brand and not just through my company or not just through my artist name. As soon as you go, cool, I'm going to be me, that takes on everything as well. And I think as soon as you fucking kind of front that, people can see through it very quickly. But that being said, a dope personal brand that is true to you and what you're about, and again, this comes back to what he kicked it off with, like if everything that you do is genuine and true to you, no matter what you do, even if it's fucking good or shit or people like it or don't like, it doesn't matter because you fucking done it from a true place. And that always comes through. So then even if someone, like there'll be times when you do something or put something in to the fucking world with the best intent and someone misinterprets it or misreads it and they get offended at you or pissed off by it, it's like, should you be pissed off because they're angry or you put something with nothing but good intent into there? So it's kind of like, as long as you stay true to fucking you don't really have to kind of apologize for that because you've done it from a good place and you've stayed true to you.
Yeah.
Is personal brand. Also, just on that, this other thing, I was having a chat with an artist this week, and it popped in my head then. I think approaching anything in the creative field, like maintaining your Instagram or fucking, being good in the studio, I think a lot of people fall off because they kind of treat it like it's not a fucking job. Like we all kind of got into music so that we don't have a real job. But I think if you, I mean, because we didn't want a job, I didn't want a fucking job. But like I came from working as a Sparky doing big hour weeks, and I just took that kind of work discipline and work ethic into a creative field, and suddenly you find after 3 months you're fucking head and shoulders in front of everyone else because they're treating it like it's a fucking, I've got to be having fun all the time and I'm not inspired so I can't write a song and fucking la-di-da, let's go for walks. Like fuck, treat it like a job and you'll get that shit back from it. And that just comes down to keeping your Instagram in check. It's like if you were looking for a real job, if you're looking for a corporate job, would your resume be fucking clean? Probably. So if you want a job in music, why the fuck isn't your online's clean?
Yep, I agree. I think it's really, like, if I'm just honest, I really try with my social media, and there's weeks where I just can't. It's really fucking hard. It's so hard to maintain. I wish I could do a video every day. I wish I could do a post every day. I find myself sometimes at a point where I'm not writing music. I'm just like, well, fuck, I'm steering a bit too much to the side. And obviously if I had more money, I'd be hiring people to do all those jobs. But it's just, do the best you can do. You don't have to be doing it every day. 2-3 times a week is better than nothing. There was a topic that actually Tamika, who's not here. So Tamika, this is for you. And she asked for the next Squad Sundays, and maybe it's something we'll talk about more because Tamika can talk about what she wants from it. But she asked about structuring time for music and specific rituals to help with flow. It's a really good topic, and it just depends what your intent is. Structuring time for music, like I've had to work full time. Trying to make the studio full time, and I was working from 8:30 till 4, and then I come to the studio from 4:30 till 7:38, 5-6 days a week, which is really it's hard, and I still work 6 days a week, but I just made sure that the way I structured my time has changed. So, I had a kid, for those that don't know. And for me, like, I just had this pressure from society. I've never had a full-time job in my life because I've always performed and been creative and earned money from that. But I was just like, I need to get a full-time job. I did it for 5-6 months and I was completely miserable. I didn't get to see my family or my missus. And so I just learned to structure the time differently. I said to, I asked people for advice, and I came to the conclusion that, okay, well, I need to make up this much money per week in order to drop this off. And now, you guys know I'm at the studio Monday to Thursday every week, full time from the morning until the night. And then Friday, Saturday, I'm working at the juvie prison, which helps me earn extra money because it's hard to be financially secure with music. Sometimes it's a great month. Other times you're like, what the fuck happened? And that's just, I haven't learned all the patterns yet. There are patterns through months. But that's just the way it goes. Don't think that it's easy for anyone. Anyone who's making it has worked fucking hard. And I'm still working really hard. I'm so passionate about what I do. I'm so sure that this is my career path. And, if you haven't found what your career path is or what you really want to do, just spend some time. It's okay not to know. There's lots of people who are like, I'm not really sure what it is or blah, blah, blah. But you have a general idea, you know, kind of what area you like. I'm lucky now that, you know, I've done this for many, many years, and I had my dreams and aspirations, and they changed, which is perfectly fine. I always thought you could just have one dream, and you reach that dream, and that's it. Life's over. And I remember when I had that one dream, it happened, and I just remember being on the bus after it finished, and I was like, oh, what the fuck now? Like, I never thought I'd get to this point where I was like, need to have another dream. So it's really, it wasn't until that moment that I was like, oh, because I kind of had in my subconscious that dreams are unattainable. That you make these dreams, you're like, oh, that's the dream, because you don't think it's possible. But it is possible, and when you make those dreams happen, you're like, oh, I can have many dreams through this life. And I've worn different hats, excuse the pun, many different hats, but this is, you know, you can have lots of dreams and you can make them, and I have a dream now and I'm working towards that, and I find that exciting. And someone that I've watched for ages, which is Gary Vee, you know, I watched that intensely for 6 months. It's just about, it's about enjoying the journey, and I feel kind of cliche, like reiterating what someone has already said. But the idea of enjoying the journey is because we're all in such a hurry to fucking get to the dream. And once you get there, it's like, you got to make another one. So just enjoy it. You take so much pressure off yourself by just like going day to day. And I've had times where I want to quit music. I've had times where I'm like, fuck this music production shit, it's too hard. You know, I didn't have anyone to help me. That's why I love teaching you guys, because, and I've told you guys that before, I just didn't have anyone. I don't know why. I was meant to go through that journey by myself, and I was just locked in a room for 10 hours a day, just trying to figure shit out. And it was so frustrating. And I had many times where I said to my girl that I wanted to quit, hey, come in.
Sorry, this is Janet.
That's right. Hey, Janet. I accidentally changed your name to Jacinta. I'm sorry. Janet, come in. Come in, Jacinta. Nice. Take a seat wherever you like, huh? You can take this big one here, or...
Cool.
I lost, what was I saying? My passion about teaching is just from my struggles. So there is something really beneficial about going through struggles and things that don't work, because it puts you onto a journey that maybe you didn't know would happen. You know, I've taught for many years, but I didn't know I'd be so passionate about teaching music production. And I hope that resonates with you guys in my lessons.
Yeah, I kind of vibe with that, because I think people forget that humans are fluid and that things change. Like,
Hey, my man, come on in, dude.
People are so uncomfortable with change. Like, no matter who you are, I think we all have a sense of being really uncomfortable with change. But once you realize that this world is just changing, and there's nothing you can do about it. Uncertainty is just a thing that you have to deal with. You can relax just a bit more. It's still a bit uncomfortable, but yeah, you can relax. Like 2 years ago, I was like, I'm gonna do musical theatre, and then 1 year later, I was like, I want to be a music producer, and then I was like, now I'm like, I want to be an artist. So it's it's a journey.
And you can do all those things.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, it doesn't have to be one thing. Like I remember going to music school, and I was a drummer there, and it was like 50% musicians and 50% dancers. This was at the VCA, Victorian College of the Arts Secondary School, and I was just, I don't know why, I just wanted to leave my school, because I was like, I just didn't like it. And my dad found this school, and I luckily got in. My music theory was shithouse. And I got in as a drummer, and I remember watching the dancers like in hip hop class. I was so fucking jealous. I was like, I saw all these ballet dancers trying to do hip hop. I'm like, man, I could kill these guys. Have another training. And I remember saying to myself when I was younger, maybe I was 17, 18, and I said to myself like, oh, in my next life, I'm going to come back as a dancer. And I don't know, something just clicked with me at that time, and I was like, fuck it, I'm going to go to dance classes now. I only started dancing when I was 18. You know, these dancers have been dancing since they were 3. Yeah. And I got into this hip-hop crew when I was 18 years old. I was doing crazy dance classes. I was watching You Got Served and Justin Timberlake videos, and I remember I did the audition. They're like, that dude dances like Justin. And I had no idea. It's just all I was watching. I remember like sitting. I'm going to show you guys. I was sitting in front of the TV like this, and I was going, all right, like this, and I was going so slow, and just like learning. And I watched it back and forth 100 times, and I just became a dancer. And the thing I fucking hated, I remember when I went to this private school, everyone's like, oh, that's the drummer guy. And I was like, I don't want to be the drummer guy. I want to be, like, I play drums, but it's not who the fuck I am. And then I like, it's cool. I changed hats. I was like, that's the freestyle dancer dude. That guy dances hip hop. And, you know, I did that for like, I don't know, 6-7 years. And I remember I was just like, I was in all these crews, and we were like training to perform in a competition in San Diego, and we were training like every day for 3 months, 6-7 hours. I'd like sometimes train by myself until I was vomiting. I just had this like obsession for it, and then it kind of, I don't know, I lost it and found other passions and other things, and I was like, fuck, I can't make a career out of this. And so other things started to happen, etc. But what I'm saying is, if you want to do musical theatre, you can do musical theatre. If you want to be an artist, you can be an artist. If you want to be a music producer, you can do all those things. There's definitely a benefit about picking one and becoming great at that discipline. But, you know, I think it's dope to experience lots of different things in your life. You don't have to have one dream. Have many fucking dreams. Reach for them, achieve them, fail at them, you know. The only way that you can fail is if you fucking stop. It's the only way. Like, there's no other... For me, like... How else can you fail? There's going to be lots of things that don't work. But if you actually give up, that's the only way that I perceive someone to fail. You've stopped doing it. So, you know, maybe it's not failure. Maybe you've just decided that's not your path and you're being honest with yourself, and that's fine too. But there's no such thing as failure. There's like all these stepping stones, all the struggles I had have got me to the point where I really am passionate about the things I do, and I'm 100% positive about those things. So going back to the question, Tamika, I'm so sorry. Structuring time for music and specific rituals. You know, in terms of rituals, like for me, it's lighting some incense. You know, like I get in the studio, I light some incense, and that kind of smell just relaxes me. We're all like creatures of habit. I didn't used to eat breakfast, and then I trained myself to eat breakfast. It took like 2-3 weeks, and now I can't live without breakfast. It's the same with rituals in music. If you make it a habit that you get stuck writing a beat or writing lyrics or writing a melody or doing choreography and dancing or whatever, it'll become a habit. It'll always block you. There's no such thing as writer's block. I really don't believe in it. I believe that there's different ways to find inspiration. And once you make that a habit, and I'm trying to teach that in my classes with you guys, like there's lots of ways to find inspiration, you'll never have these things. Make good habits. They'll create good rituals. And you'll just know, like, this is what I do. Those things are going to make everything positive and make it work out well. Some of you may have noticed, like in the classes with some of the music producers, the importance of musicianship and knowing the foundation of your craft. I've been really pushing some of you with like a basic foundation in music. I think in this day and age, like you can be a music producer and create anything. And if you're great at what you do, like you don't need to be a trained musician, but there's a huge benefit in actually having a foundation in just a minimal knowledge of music. If you're doing music and you love music, so just learn the basic parts of music. It just makes sense. You know, like if you're a mechanic, learn how to use your tools. And learning the basic foundation in music, it's part of our tools. And it really makes it easy to kind of communicate with musicians, understand what's going on. If you're a beat maker, understanding sampling, like to know what key to go down to, what's a semitone, what's a tone, half step, whole step. That's really basic stuff, and it doesn't take you long to learn. And some of you have started doing some basic foundation in music. I've taught you some like rhymes to remember stuff. That's, you know, they're things I've never forgot. So I think that's really, really important. Whatever you're doing, whatever your discipline is, make sure you have the basic tools. And there's no such thing as you're too old or blah, 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 or you haven't been taught. It's really basic stuff. It's all over the internet, or I'm happy to help you out with it as well. I was speaking to Simon a little bit about this topic briefly, and he kind of just like dropped the truth bomb. I was like, oh shit, why is it? I just feel like May is like quite a difficult month. I don't know why, with clients, people cancelling, people getting sick, blah, 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 people flaky, all this kind of stuff. And I told you, like, I'm picking up the patterns slowly. But Simon made a really good point. He's like, dude, it's the start of winter. I'm like, bro, that's so true. I couldn't figure it out. I'm like, wow, all these things are happening and the moods are changing. And like, if you're like me, you know, when the sun's out and shining, you just feel fucking great. And then when it's gloomy a bit, it starts getting cold, it makes things more difficult. So that's when those things like ritual and habits become really important to be able to kind of make sure you get into a positive space to keep pushing through and keep things going forward. I've written here, must have had a thought, keeping things simple beats in music production. When I first started producing, I remember like trying to overproduce, even as an artist. Oh, I gotta add, no, it needs more. Like the cliche thing of less is more is really valuable because this weird thing it's not a weird thing, it's just like you would think that by adding more instruments you would have a bigger production and the song would sound bigger. But you can actually make less instruments sound bigger. You can mix them, you got space for frequencies. You can really beef that stuff up. So sometimes less is more. Finding the right sound might take you a little bit longer. Finding the right sound and finding the right part, the right piece of music is actually going to make the song better, going to create more space. So maybe that's a little tip for music producers, but also for artists. It's really important to maybe simplify things because if you think of the most catchy songs, like what are they? And you're probably going to name me like, I don't know, maybe Britney Spears songs or whatever, but I'm thinking like way back. Like when we're first born, what are the songs we're teaching our kids? Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. And what's the same tune as Twinkle? Gonna blow your mind right now.
Alphabet.
A, B, C, D. That blew my mind. That's the reaction I wanted. A, B, C, twinkle, twinkle. Oh my God. Yeah. So, and those things stick with us. They're so catchy. And like, guys, a song shouldn't be more complicated, you know? Like, it should just be find the twinkle, twinkle, little star in your song. And that's what it should be. And a really good tip for anyone who's writing, which is probably all of you, is you don't need to reinvent the wheel. I was reading this like Songwriting 101, I can't remember her name, Frederick something. She's had all these hits and helped people, blah, blah, blah. But she basically says you don't need to reinvent the wheel. You can actually take a song, over your song, your instrumental, and sing that pop song that's been in the top 10 over the top of your song with your own lyrics and then start rejigging the melody. And it's going to feel different. It's going to sound different. It's one of the coolest tricks that I've ever used. I'm like, oh, wow, this is so much easier than trying to come up with my own melody. And, you know, if you're gifted for coming up with melodies, great. But it's one of the most fundamental parts of a song because you can make a great instrumental as a music producer. But if that main line or rap or melody is not dope, so the song's going to cave. It's not going to do anything. So just go back to Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. Try and find something catchy. I'm not saying like sing that over the top of your song, right? Like something that's in the top 10, similar to your genre, sing that over the top, experiment with it, and then start changing the melodies. You'll like pick up something, you'll be like, oh my God, that works. And it's a really cool thing. So if you guys have written a song, turn off your vocals and sing something else over the top. It's really, really cool.
And just send it to different cunts. Send it to like fucking 10 people and go, man, give them full creative control, go do, write a fucking hook over this.
Yeah, great idea.
Back so many different fucking things. You're like, fuck dude, I just wouldn't have thought of that because I don't fucking think like you.
Yeah, collaboration again. The power of collaboration.
Just blind, no input, just creative freedom, go fuck here.
I think one of the things is like structuring a song. So it can be simple, just as long as the structure is dope. Like this, like one of the hardest things I had to learn, because I'm the type of dude who always wants so much more on a song. Like it needs more. But like I think like recently over time, I started to realize what really a lot of the substance is within the structure and the melody. So when the beat drops out and your vocals flourish, you know, where the bridge comes in and the beautiful melody comes in. So yeah, just I think structuring and understanding the concept between knowing what the verse and the chorus and stuff is without overdoing it, and just making it more simplified on that level as well, is definitely can make an impact on your song. Definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think that you notice that a lot at this point because you're focusing on that as well in your creative career? Like you pick up on that because when you're writing through this, say, 6-month period or whatever where you're at, you're consciously breaking down shit, so you're analysing other people's works in that aspect more? Do you think?
Oh, sorry, say that again.
So like, well, do you think you're picking up more on the structure of tracks because you're consciously looking at the structure of your personal tracks? Like, do you think it's a reflection of how you're writing stuff that's how you'll analyze and pick up things?
Yeah, 100%. Like, listen to other songs and understanding the concept and how they've structured their songs and why has it become successful. Look at house music, for example. 4 to the floor beat, boom, 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 boom. But what? 30 seconds or a minute in, like, what the hell just happened? There's another beat in there, like, and the structure starts coming in. And then it drops out and it goes back to the intro. Like, okay, that's so interesting, and now I understand what really gets people into it because it's a vibe. And part of, I feel like part of getting that vibe is also structuring your music and understanding, okay, this is the verse bit, low pass, high pass on the verse, and understanding and building a track around that also to create that interest, for the listener's point of view as well. But 100%, I listen to other tracks and I'm like, man, they structured this real simple, but at the same time, it has substance behind it, like the way it's been moved around. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And just to add on to that as well, from a singer's point of view, you don't need to over-sing shit all the time.
Yeah.
Like, it really shits me when singers are like, I'm going to do a freaking, like, run over here and run over there and run over here. I'm just like, sing it straight. Like, yeah. It's just like, bring it out when you need to do it, but you don't need to do it all the time. And it was something I did as a younger singer. And it took me a while just to appreciate the essence of the song that you're singing. And if that's appropriate for that song at that time, go for it. But don't feel like you need to show off all the time. We can hear you're a good singer in the entirety of the song. Yeah. So
I think it just comes back to like being comfortable with yourself as well, because I'm only bringing this back to myself because I just want to bring up what you said, but like being a drummer, I was like behind cymbals, and like when I used to perform, I put cymbals in front of my face if there was an audience, because that like felt comfortable for me. I didn't have to, the audience couldn't see me. And I remember the first time like I tried to sing, like, it's your voice. You can't change your voice, man. Like, I can get a different snare, I can learn jazz or this or that or play a bit different, but it's like your voice is the most vulnerable instrument.
It's so personal.
It's so personal, and you have to be so honest and comfortable with yourself, right? Because you need to really, like, as a drummer, I loved drumming and being a part of the music and, people are dancing to it, but I could kind of hide a little bit. But as a singer, it's like you're out front. You need to be honest and you're sharing your heart and your soul. And if you don't, like, people aren't going to connect with what you're doing. And the one most important thing is, like, when you're expressing those lyrics, whatever the song is, you need to connect with it on your own level, whatever the song means to you, right? So I just think, sing.
It's a whole other ballgame.
It's a whole other ballgame.
Like, as a dancer, I can perform whenever, but then as a singer, I close up.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, my singing teacher would be like, but you dance, why can't you perform? Like, it's different. I'm not me when I dance.
Yeah.
But singing, you have no choice but to be yourself. Or you're a tryhard.
There you have it. I ain't gonna say anything more to that. Guys, help yourself to food and drink. I don't have much more to say, believe it or not. I'd love to open up the floor to you guys. I just love to know what I'm so positive that some of you are thinking, oh fuck, I'd love to talk about this, and I'd really love you guys to have the confidence to do that. So please, after this, let's open it up. The last thing I just wanted to say is that you need to, and some of you I'm sure have, just need to succumb to life's beatings or misfortunes. There's 2 ways to react. You can lose your shit with anger or just use acceptance. The difference, like, the situation is a situation, but the difference is the way that we react. I can get upset and I can take it personally. I can let it affect me and everyone around me, because it does. I go home to people who sometimes don't deserve my anger or whatever. But it's like, I can change the way I am. That's all I'm responsible for, the way that I react to situations. Know that everyone is dealing with their own shit and their own problems. Don't take anyone's shit on personally. Life is going to be full of hardships and misfortunes and things that are difficult. The only thing we can change is the way that we react to those. And I wouldn't take them on, you know, like, just kind of protect yourselves. We're all artists. We're all sensitive. This shit's fucking difficult. Again, I love that you guys come here so I can gas bag about this, and you guys too.
It's kind of like group therapy in here.
Yeah. You know what? That's kind of... inevitably, that's kind of my background. I used to go to lots of therapy, and that's something I don't care about sharing, because it really helped me have all these kind of feelings about what we're talking about and stuff. But I went through it a lot when I was younger. I had a lot of hardships and bullshit, and, you know, I know everyone here has a fucking story about how their life in some way was completely fucked up. We're all experiencing that together. Yeah, we do. And, you know, it's not something we need to share, but we're all human, and we don't need to pretend that we're not. We don't need to pretend that we're not going through that shit. I'm not here to fake anything. I'm here just to be real with you, and I'm here to support you guys. And I'm sending all my love and good vibes. And I just want you guys to feel confident about what you're doing. I want you to enjoy the industry. I want you to enjoy being creative, and know that this can be a place where we just kind of like talk the talk. And even if it's not in this space, at least you can make connections individually, where you make those strong connections, and as someone that you can maybe call up and say, you know what, I had a fucking shit week musically, creatively, or even personally. And that's something that hopefully we can build here with weeks and months to come. So that's it for me. I want to thank you very much for listening to me crap on. Again, next month, I'll talk about some topics that kind of hit home for me. If you guys have topics that you want to talk about, just hit me up. We have a Squad Sunday group in WhatsApp. So if you're not part of it and you want to be a part of it, make sure I join you up in my phone. And all we have in there is just a way to just connect with each other. You know, Aman's got a gig coming up. We can share that, or Satha want a gig, or this.
I was like, guys, I want a gig. Oh my God.
Or I need some singers, or I need a music producer, or I need some beats. It's just a great way for us to connect when we're out of here. And it's not something that you need to react to all the time. If you're busy or you don't want to check it, I don't care. But it's a really good platform to keep us connected. Cool?
Cool.
So is there any topics that anyone wants to chat about? After this, you know, if no one has anything to say, we have a few people who are just going to share some music, which I'm always really excited to share some stuff. If you've got something you want to share.
I guess I just want to touch on something. I don't know, like, I'm not the type of person to express my feelings a lot. But I guess anxiety, like being an artist, is and mental health. You know, like it's very, very big culprit in terms of trying to do everything yourself, and you start to you feel like there's so much things that you need to do, but you don't know how to do it. Okay, and trying to get your foot in that door, and recently, like this is the first time that I'm releasing a single. And this is the first time that I'm like organizing the show and doing everything. But once you start to realize there's people that support you and that will back you, it doesn't hurt to ask. Okay, and that will lift a bit of the anxiety off, you know? And don't be afraid to ask people, because if you don't ask, you don't know. Okay? A lot of the times, like, I wanted to put Soul Choir together and I was too afraid to ask. But I asked, and man, it happened. I wanted to work with Spike a lot more, you know. I asked, you know, we sat down, we talked about this, you know, and there's a lot of opportunities that you're stopping yourself without asking. A lot of anxiety can go away if you ask for advice, you know, and things like that, you know. So I think that's probably that I would like to touch on, because lately, like, I did go through a really bad stage of anxiety, putting everything together, especially as an independent artist. But just know that if you don't ask, you will never know. If you need help, it doesn't hurt to ask, because there's always someone out there that's going to put a helping hand.
A dope topic, bro.
Yeah, just on that as well, I think there's something I was going to add as well. In terms of when you talk about everyone feel comfortable, you know, working in the fucking industry here, which is absolutely how it should roll, but I think there's a very real fucking conversation. I think we might have touched on it the other time about the difference between music being a fucking passion and something that you love, and putting the pressures on yourself to pay fucking rent and buy food off it. Like, that's a very different ball game. And then you'll find every relationship that is around you, you know, like anything, if you don't have the financial stability there's going to be fucking stress in a lot of areas in your life. So I think having the real chat with yourself, especially, you know, if the cash especially initially isn't coming in through music, to go, okay, maybe all this external pressure, which in my experience has led to a lot of the anxiety around these things, and people like artists before a tour, before a show, fucking losing their shit, it's because a lot of the pressures they've put on themselves, and usually unrealistically. You go, fuck dude, go pick up 6 hours at a fucking bar, you'll make some fucking cash, you'll suddenly be a lot freer when you're actually doing your stuff. That kind of time, again, structure, we are beings of structure. Anyone who says they don't need structure is fucking full of shit. So having, even sometimes you need that little structure, going and working at a bar or a cafe to bring everything else fucking in order. But I think it's a very real chat people need to have with themselves. Go, fuck, do I want to pay fucking rent off music? Because if you do, cool, but you're in for a fucking very different ball game, and you might be very happy, a lot happier, jamming with your buddy 3 times a week and fucking making tunes on the side for fun and not knowing what's going to fucking happen, rather going, okay, now I'm in it, let's fucking go. Fuck, I don't have rent this week. Shit, everything's fucking happening. Because that's how it goes down, man. Like, we talk about it, it's funny here, but it fucking happens every day.
Yeah.
Like, then there's something else I wanted to say about that. I've forgotten.
Maybe come back to it.
Yeah.
Like what you just said, like that's literally what brought me here. Like trying to alleviate that anxiety, because like you get so scared if you're not doing everything yourself, and like just sometimes collaboration doesn't seem like an option because you're so just consumed with trying to be it all. And like being here right now, it's so relieving because you're like, no, I don't have to do it all myself. I don't have to learn everything with a 2-hour Google search. Yeah.
100%. That's how I felt first time I came here. I was like, oh, fuck, fun to talk to people again. But I thought I had to do my singing, my rapping, my producing, my mixing, my mastering, photography, graphic design, and like everything all by myself. I was like, oh shit, how am I going to do this? I studied 4 years in like a health science sort of thing. Like I'm not equipped.
This is such a great topic. I fucking love this topic. And I want to touch on a couple of things if you don't mind. You need to recognize what your weaknesses are. You have to recognize. You don't have to do everything. And you can ask. And the worst thing that someone can say is no. And that's fine. But if you don't ask, you don't know. And most of the time people are going to say yes, because we're all human beings and we want to help. The idea that like, you know, I'm trying to build a business and been trying, and I just succumb to the fact that like, I'm not good at everything. And I became okay with that. I went to Airtasker and Fiverr. I'm like, there's dudes on here who I can pay 30, 40, 50 bucks. Yeah. And they will do the job. And they'll do a fucking great job. I got someone to do my logo. I got someone to write me up some articles for $50 to $100. You know, like I just thought, I can't fucking write articles about myself. I can't do a logo.
Awesome.
I can't do this, I can't do that. And if you can't, just know that you don't have to do everything. There's people out there who do it for you and it's affordable. So sometimes just recognize what your strengths are, go all in on your strengths, and then focus out and let those people who know to do what they do. You know, when I get a cameraman like Tomas, he's like, I got this camera and I got this. I'm like, dude, I have no idea what you're talking about. But you do you. You bring in your camera, I give you full creative rights, you edit the way you want to edit. You know, I don't want anyone to do too much. You do what you can do. And that's fine. I'm happy with that. Yeah, so it's just being honest with yourself. Don't get to the point of anxiety where you're like, this is too much, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. If you don't know what you're doing, find someone who does to help you. Anxiety is something I've dealt with my whole life. My family dealt with it, my parents, my sisters, my brothers, and I tried my best through those years after I went through it to coach them through those things. It's something that you live with for your whole life, but you need to have a hold of it and understand how to deal with it. The only way you can experience anxiety is if you're thinking about the future or if you're thinking about the past. I guarantee you 100% that if you're thinking about right now, if you guys are 100% in this moment, there is no fucking chance that you can suffer from anxiety. And I promise you that. It's something I've practiced for so long because I really suffered from it for many years. And there's lots of techniques. You know, there's breathing techniques. Breathe in for 10 seconds, hold it for 10 seconds, let it out. If it gets to the point of panic attack, you just need to find methods that work for you to be able to cope. So coping mechanisms is important. You want to be an artist, you want to be creative, it's a hard industry. The first thing is mental health. If you can't look after yourself, fuck that. Fuck that. Fuck music, fuck dancing, fuck anything creative. It's not worth your health. It's not worth pushing yourself to a limit where you are not your the best version of yourself. So I would say focus 100%, put all your cards, all your eggs in one basket in working on yourself first. And then come back to being your strongest self and then work on the creative side. To be creative, you have to be vulnerable and you need to feel 100% secure with what you're doing and good. And I understand the stresses, man, like it's so hard. Taking everything on, having to deal this. I always experience these things. The only difference is now I know how to deal with them better. I don't let things affect me as much. I embrace everything with love. When I do get anxious, my wife will put me on the floor and give me a massage with candles and fucking incense. You know, like I have my coping. She's like, you're stressed. Get down on the ground now. I'm like, cool. You know, catching up with a mate. Yeah. Find out what works for you. It's not always going to be the same.
It's a nail on the head. Like, for example, like this is an amazing thing. You know, I would have met Ben. Like, I called Ben. It's like, I don't know what the hell to do. It's like, he goes, all right, this is what you need to do. And he just gave me some free advice and helped me. You know, I asked Spike. I asked my homies, you know, like, and it's just like, it's such a very important thing to come together in this, and especially once a month, and to talk about things that matter, because sometimes you feel alone as an artist. You feel alone. You feel like, oh my God, like I'm doing everything myself, and people ain't. And you just gotta live with it. People, okay, it's gonna be harsh when I say it, but people ain't gonna believe in it as much as you do, and you have to accept that, right? So what you need to do is do the best you can, and there are gonna be some people that love you for it, and they will have your back. But you just need to understand that, okay, I have to be ready. And I'm ready, and I'm going to do everything I can. And even if it's going to make me live on the street, I'm mentally ready to make this happen. And yeah, you just gotta go hard. Don't give up.
Thanks, man. Thanks for sharing that.
I think back to what you were saying, Spike.
Yeah.
I somewhat agree. I think there's in terms of like finding other people to outsource and do stuff. I think especially early on, say if you're in your first 4 or 5 years or so, to learn fucking everything, even if you suck at it, even you're like, fuck dude, I can't, my vocal production is not fucking good, but I know that because I've been trying to produce vocals for 4 years and I'm shit. Like then when you're in the studio with another producer, you know vaguely what you're talking about, you know how to go about it. Even if you may not know how to execute it yourself, you'll know the point you want to get at. And I think taking that just stops you from being exposed. Like in terms of this, I'll use this as an example. Theoretically, let's say fucking he comes back with a video edit that's fucking shit. You hate it. You're like, dude, this fucking sucks. My whole personal brand. You left yourself open to be exposed by him, because you're like, and you know, it's kind of that balance. You're like, fuck, dude, I know I can't do it, but if by going back and doing it and knowing what you want to get out of it and being able to direct them, especially if it's coming out under your name or your personal brand, you're the one who's responsible for it. So by giving someone else that full control, it's like, fuck, if that was your business, would you give someone a full control over an arm of your business when you're the one who fucking goes bankrupt for it? So I think there's value in knowing that, coming back to going, okay, cool, I know I'm shit at it, so I need to get someone in, but I've also fucking gone to learn the back end so that I know what the fuck I want out of it, and I'm not just up to whatever comes out, because I think you're just leaving yourself exposed.
Yeah, I don't think being naive is obviously the right way.
Yeah,
but I think when you get to a point where you're working professional in any industry and time is your most valuable asset, you want to focus your time and put all your cards on the table for what how you're going to execute and giving the most quality to what you want to do.
100%.
And, you know, for me, like, I thought long and hard. I'm like, you know what? I could edit my own videos. I agree. I could learn to edit my own videos and I could sit on there, but I don't have time. I don't have time.
And where you're at now, you're 100%.
Yeah,
That's the right
and that's when I'm
conclusion to
saying,
get to.
and I
So it's
agree,
about
don't
that
be
first
naive and
4
don't get fucked over.
Yeah, that
but
first 4 or 5 year when you're still fucking, you know, seeing the fucking landscape that is the industry and choosing where the fuck you're going to go on the offense, when you're still scoping that out, like, bear in mind, cool, at some point we're going to have to taper this in somewhere and really get fucking real. But also, even if you spend fucking 6 months learning something you think, oh man, I'm never going to fucking use this again, when you fucking hire someone, you've got that knowledge. So it never hurts to go, okay, even though I'm never going to be a fucking video producer, fuck, I'll go and fucking hang out with this dude for the next fucking 6 months to learn about the back end, about how he does it, because it's all that's going to fucking help.
Yeah, there's also a lot to be said about going out into the unknown and pushing yourself out into areas that you're not familiar in as well. You know, like, I've dealt with anxiety my whole life too, but you can't, I don't think it's the best practice to avoid situations where you're not capable as well. You know, you kind of got to straddle the line between what's safe and what you have no control over, you know, as you were talking about before. You sort of figure things out, 1 foot in each, I think.
Yeah, man.
The other thing on anxiety that I got into having ages ago is fucking drug use. Like, drug use and alcohol in the industry is fucking huge. Like, you may laugh at it, but I guarantee in the next fucking 5 years you're gonna come across an artist or work with something where you're like, fuck, dude, drugs got in the way, and this break, this, like, if you're going through anxiety and that sort of mental stress, like, talk with someone to fucking, you know, it sounds obvious, but clean up fucking some aspects of your life, and you'll find how much clearer you might just fucking think from coming out of the haze.
Good advice. This is one of the fucking dopest Squad Sundays. I'm so pumped right now. I'm so amped. I'm just, it's so cool that you guys are being honest and just real. And I really hope this really gravitates to other people who are watching, you know, who are just going through that shit. It's such a hard industry, man. Yeah. But it's also just the greatest fucking thing ever. I love music so much. I want to do it for the rest of my life. I'm so certain of that. And I just knew since I was young, whatever the fuck I do, you know, I thought I was going to be a drummer and this and that. And I just want to be in the arts. I love the arts. I love creating. It's just something that I feel here, and I'm just being honest with how I feel, you know, and I hope all you guys do that as well. And I know that because you're here, that, you know, that's what you're doing. Any other things you guys want to discuss?
Just to mention what you were talking about before, the difference between like dancing and singing, and when you use your own voice, it's a certain kind of vulnerability. I'm just interested, because I'm just sort of starting out going into the performance sort of sphere. I've been like a studio producer rapper for a while, you know, just getting things ready. But I don't know, is there anyone here who's just starting out with that or has more experience with that, who knows how to deal with that and to sort of move from that incredibly like anxious, afraid to be vulnerable state to kind of owning your, I mean, you know, it'd be good to hear other people's perspectives on their battle with that.
Like presence on stage and stuff.
Or just just learning how to be comfortable, just learning how to get over that. I read a story with Jimi Hendrix. He used to play behind a curtain on stage, which I love that. I go back to that every now and again because it's just a reminder of like, no matter how good you are, it's a mental battle. You know, it's a battle with yourself rather than the audience.
With me, I think singing for one person is so much harder than singing in front of a whole audience.
The more intimate.
It's unreal. Yeah.
My dad used to sit in the front seat, man. I fucking hated that. I was like, Dad, can you please not sit in the front, please? Like, it just gives me bad anxiety.
So that 100%. But so I haven't really performed properly. I've done it back at school. I did it heaps.
Yeah, I was sort of the same, but now that it's like I'm writing severely personal stuff and like way more intensely than I used to, it's like you said about wearing a mask. I think you can do that as a vocalist as well. A lot of people do play a part on stage, but when you make that transition and you're no longer playing the part and it's really you on there, I think that's a big difference.
Go.
You're in the same situation as me.
Yeah, I'm in a very similar situation, but it's a similar mental battle, right? Because I got a show coming up. And I'm like, this is gonna be a big show, and I'm expecting a lot of people. Well, hopefully. next minute, just Spike just standing there. What's up, bro?
I'll bring my dad.
So there'd be like more people on stage now. Yeah, I think I come to the conclusion that we are all human beings, and that I love everyone just for the sole fact you're a human being, right? And that means that I'm not scared. That means that I hold you on the same level as everyone else. You know, we're all humans, and we all go through our own shit, honestly. And like, it took me a while to really grasp that. So now I'm ready. I'm like, you know what? There's gonna be people that's not gonna like it.
Yeah.
There's gonna be people that's gonna talk shit behind your back. There's gonna be people that's gonna love it and be like, oh my God, did amazing work. You just need to level the playing field and be like, at the end of the day, everyone is their own person. And we are all human beings. So I love every human being, and this is for every human being. That's it. And that's how I battled through it. Yeah.
I'd also like to, so when you said, mental health is really important, so I was able to write a lot of poetry and songs when I was depressed, like in the worst state of my chronic depression that I lived with, like for most of my life. And now that I'm no longer depressed, I struggle with writing or creating. And because I have post-traumatic stress disorder. So I went to my psychologist and I'm like, look, I'm struggling creatively and personally. What is it, And it's what happens is you learn to wear a mask to deal with not confronting what you're really feeling, and you kind of block out the past. It's very much a coping mechanism, and I think a part of being able to get to that place where you can just perform and be vulnerable is just accepting the human. It's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to just be honest.
Just getting to the point where you're like not caring what people think. That's a hard place to get to. But I was having a conversation with my man before with someone here, and I was talking about the things that helped me at getting on stage. Like there's one really cool thing I got told by a performer who I really respected, and he said to me, if you don't get nervous before you go on stage, it means you don't love it anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought that was a really cool thing. The other thing is that there's methods to calm your anxiety before you go perform, and because it's a personal experience, it is scary, and you put all your heart and soul into the project. But a couple of really good methods that I found really effective is going through your performance before you go on stage mentally in real time, not fast forward or slow motion. Going through the song and shutting your eyes and picturing yourself on stage and actually seeing what you'd be doing on the stage. The other one that I got from my wife, who's a dancer, which was some of the best advice I ever got, was actually standing in front of a mirror and performing your song and looking at yourself. And that's that is the most confronting shit ever, because you feel stupid. And you feel
Dre does that.
Dre does that?
Yeah, Dre does that. Before he goes on stage, he just stands in front of the mirror and just raps. Yeah.
That's awesome.
And you see what you're doing with your body. You see how people are going to see you. And then it's just getting comfortable, like you said, like you're vulnerable, but some people, like, no matter what you do, no matter what song you make, there's going to be people who are going to hate it. There's going to be people who are going to love it. You can't please everyone, and neither would you want to. There's people who like country music. There's people who like jazz. There's people who like hip hop. There's people who like ska. There's people who like rock.
Always.
Like, you might have some dude who's a hardcore rock fan be at your show. Like, how the fuck are you going to please him? You can't. Yeah, well, that's an option. We'll keep this PG.
Back to
Censor that out.
So, practical wise, in terms of viewing where you're at now to live, fucking write yourself like a 45-minute live set and a half an hour live set. Get all your original material, put together a 45-minute live set and a half an hour live set. Fucking learn them. If you don't have the content to fill that out, get fucking instrumentals and use your own beats. Otherwise, just do a straight fucking cover or something. But if you fill out that 45 and half an hour live set, learn that, fucking rehearse it back to front. That is your set. Then as you create more original content, you can pull out the fucking covers, put your shit in. Then without you knowing, you've already got a fucking live set there that you practiced and rehearsed. And then before we play fucking live, we'd go through the whole set. Before we played live, we played the whole fucking set backstage. That's how you know when you know shit's in fucking order. And even to our fucking our back and forth banter back when we were playing would be the shit that looks off the cusp, like in between tracks, fucking something that looks like back and forth. We knew exactly what the fuck was happening. We just knew we'd change it depending on what city we were in, or we knew between this song I'd mention something and he'd do a little fucking something off the cusp in retaliation, but we both knew exactly what was happening and when. We both knew who was taking a step, when, whose arm's going up, so that you're fucking in time. Like, it's not by accident.
Yeah.
And then so in terms of you now, from going from all your fucking bedroom producing shit into going to the live scene, write yourself now a 45 and half an hour set. If you don't have the original content, jack it from fucking YouTube, practice with fucking other beats, then wean your own shit in as you fucking fill it out. And then in 6 months, when you start looking for fucking live sets and supports, you've already been fucking jamming for 6 months.
True.
I think it's really interesting, like, performing's always been my, like, main way of communicating with people. Like, it's always been...
Yeah,
sure.
I thought you were going to jump up.
Yeah, but it's like, it's always been easy for me to perform. I've been rooted in performing for ages. And it's easy for me to perform, but hard to be vulnerable in real life. If that makes sense. And
it's pretty normal.
Yeah, it's pretty normal. But yeah, so like when I go up on stage, I just know that this is my truth. What I'm performing is my truth. And that's what makes me unable to care about what people think. It's that I know what I'm doing is what I've been experiencing. This is my story. This is the stuff I've been going through, and it deserves to be put out there. And yeah, that's my advice. That's what I've always had in my head when I perform my original stuff.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
Guys, I'm going to start closing it up. So I want to strictly keep these sessions like 2 hours, which feels like a while, but it felt like it went really, really quick. I want to thank you all for coming again. I really, really enjoyed this Squad Sunday. There was just so many cool topics. I'm really appreciative of you guys just being like really honest and upfront with your feelings, and like we all don't know each other that long. It's just really cool. It's a really special thing. There's no one doing this in Melbourne. There's no one doing this shit in Australia that I can see. I just think we're like the pioneers of this kind of community, and I can't wait to see where this goes together. So I want to thank you all very much. We are now going to share a few songs from some of the artists here. I'm not going to record this on video because, we don't need to. But we'll put some links underneath if people want to check out your tracks. If you want to load your tracks up, be more than happy to do that. And that's it. Thank you, Thomas, for filming. Thank you guys for setting up. Hopefully the next one we might get Jack the Bear from Deluxe Mastering. He might come in for our next session. I got someone else in the pipeline who's had some crazy success overseas. I got some really exciting people that I'd love to get down here. I think it's like I thoroughly enjoyed this Squad Sunday just with us. And I thought maybe it'll go for an hour, I don't know, but it went really great. But also I think it's cool just to get speakers in, just to get some inspiration from people who are doing really well in the industry, a different approach, fresh blood. So the next Squad Sunday, I can probably promise that we'll have someone in. And that's it. You guys got any questions or anything you want to ask? Anything you want to add to the next Squad Sundays? Let's make sure that by the end of this session, we'll just do a photo at the back. That's it. Thanks, guys.
Cool.
Terrible.